der Ehrgeiz bestand auch, anders zu klingen als alles, was in Deutschland entstand. Und insofern entstand die Neumusik, ohne dass wir vorher geprobt hätten.
The big one for me was Neu. Klaus Dinger and Michael Roeder. That was the most amazing for me.
Klaus Dinger und die Gitarre von Michael Roeder zum Beispiel. Also das ist natürlich ein ganz eigener Fluss.
Und Klaus Dinger war ein Schlagzeuger, wie ich ihn vorher noch nicht erlebt hatte, mit seiner Kraft.
Wow, listen to that.
Deep inside of us, we respond to that beat.
Where it's just so savage.
Wow!
As the 1970s dawned, a young generation, tired of the monotony of the post-war era, began a search for its own voice in a new Germany. At the heart of a new growing musical movement was a young drummer called Klaus Dinger. Although relatively unknown in his lifetime, he was to become one of the most influential musicians of his era. Together with his partner Michael Roeder, he established the band Neu. It is a band that continues to inspire musicians all over the world. Dinger's own inspiration came from his broken heart. After meeting a Swedish girl, he had fallen madly in love. But after spending a blissful summer traveling around Scandinavia, the relationship soon fell apart, as her father disapproved of the German hippie. When the girl was sent to live in Norway, Klaus returned to Düsseldorf, where the pain of separation became the inspiration for his music. Düsseldorf had become a melting pot of music, art, fashion and design. Amongst them were a group of musicians who were obsessed with creating a new, groundbreaking sound.
Hat man früher eigentlich Schlager gehört und das war, sagen wir mal so, das ging an unseren Ohren links und rechts vorbei. Das war Kitsch. Es hat uns nicht viel berührt, diese Musik. Wir mussten was Neues erfinden. Wir haben schon gelernt, was englischer Popmusik war oder American Rock. Wie die Amerikaner mit den Beach Boys, The American Dream, wollten wir etwas aufbauen, das Deutsche. Was ist das Deutsche denn in unserer Generation? Die Deutschen waren immer noch ein bisschen experimentierfreudiger. hat schon irgendwie mit unserer Mentalität zu tun, dass wir konstruktiver an Sachen herangehen, so präziser. Wir spielten Deutschland-Präzision. Und Klaus Dinger und die Gitarre von Michael Rother zum Beispiel, also das ist natürlich ein ganz eigener Fluss, wo man sagt, geh mal an den Rhein und schau dir den Fluss an. Er hört ja auch nicht auf zu fließen. Der Krautrock-Beat hört nicht auf. Er hört dann auf, wenn das Tape voll ist vielleicht.
Although Klaus and Michael Rother were an odd couple, they complemented one another perfectly. They were determined to break the norm, and together they developed a unique sound that built on Klaus's frenetic drumming and Michael's innovative guitar.
Klaus Dinger und ich waren uns darin einig, dass wir nicht über Musik theoretisieren. Der Ehrgeiz bestand auch, anders zu klingen als alles, was in Deutschland entstand. Und Klaus Dinger war ein Schlagzeuger, wie ich ihn vorher noch nicht erlebt hatte, mit seiner Kraft. Und so war das ein Vehikel, ein musikalisches Vehikel, das in der ganzen Brachialität, also es war einfach eine sehr rohe Musik.
How did you actually work up the music?
We were only these two people.
Yeah.
We started with me on drums and Michael with some groundwork on guitar or also on bass, who gave me the room for playing high and wildly.
Ich hatte lange Haare und ich saß hinter meinen Geräten und an der Gitarre und schaute so nach unten und hörte auf die Musik und guckte mehr nach innen gedanklich. Aber irgendwie spürte ich in einem Augenblick, dass irgendwas sonderbar war, irgendwas war anders. Und deswegen schaute ich auf und es war ein surrealer Moment, weil ich gesehen habe, wie Blut durch die Luft flog. Es war ein Blutspritzer und ich schaute zum Publikum, das war sehr nah, und sah lauter entsetzte Menschen, also die mit großen Augen und offenem Mund die Szenerie auf der Bühne beobachteten. Und dann drehte ich mich um und schaute zu Klaus und sah, dass er sich an seinem Becken verletzt hatte. In dem furiosen Spiel hatte er die Hand in dieses rauen Ecken des Beckens geschlagen und sich fürchterlich verletzt, hat aber in keiner Sekunde aufgehört zu spielen. Er hat einfach weitergemacht.
Klaus's relentless drumming became his trademark, and the beat was named Motorik by journalists. It was a beat that would inspire musicians for generations to come.
That beat, like the first time hearing it, and I still feel it now, like it's this determination behind it, and I think that's what I really like. It's this sort of like, hang on, because we're just going to keep going, and then it's going to, when you think it's done, like it's not, you're just going to keep going again and again and again, and like longer and longer, and you just think, oh my God, like how long can you do this for? Like Klaus, and it's, I mean, that's why I called my Jack Russell Klaus, because it's just kind of like, you know, he's a Jack Russell, and we all know they're very determined, like tenacious little dogs, and it's like, yep, he's a Klaus Dinger. You know, like if he wants his ball and it's somewhere he can't, he'll just sit there and he'll just watch the ball for like 3 hours, and you're like, wow, you're not going to give up until you get the ball. So yeah, Klaus. It's obviously a cliche, but it's just like, it is just driving, like you're just going and you're going and you're going, and it's just this endless journey.
There have been an awful lot of musicians who have been inspired by the music, and many have also ripped you off, be it from Bowie to Ultravox. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel quite honored, of course. As long as these people mention that, well, I don't feel so bad about it. So.
Hier ist David Bowie. Was ganz anderes als vorher? Werden deine Fans sagen, wieder ein neuer Bowie, oder sind da wieder Elemente aus den 60ern, 70ern, 80ern drin?
So viel hat sich, glaube ich, gar nicht geändert, denn viele meiner Arbeiten konzentrieren sich doch auf eine neue Tanzform, damals Anfang der 70er Jahre. Damals habe ich mich voll für den Philadelphia Sound, für Soul Sound begeistert, und dann, als ich in Berlin war, war ich begeistert von dem, was aus Düsseldorf kam. Es gab damals Bands wie Kraftwerk, Harmonia und so weiter. Daran kann man sich wahrscheinlich hier nicht mehr
Kraftwerk sind
erinnern.
einige, glaube ich, ja? Kraftwerk-Fans?
Die kennen Sie natürlich, aber Harmonia. Kennen Sie die auch? Kennen Sie Neu, die Gruppe Neu?
It's this with the Germans. It's a little bit, you know, toy soldier, a little bit. There's something in there that like that, and I think it might just be, that's their energy. Is it like an expression of the German spinal fluids? They have a certain backbone, those people, you know? You see it in how well trained their dogs are. Everything. I started drumming when I was about 6 years old. And I think without knowing it, I was imitating the Detroit Machines. Because in Detroit, the only really great thing happening was the manufacture of the cars. That was it, you know? And there's nothing to distract you from that huge reality. What was there in Michigan? A bunch of trees, a bunch of hillbillies, some poor black people, and Ford, General Motors, smokestacks, assembly lines, you know, over and over and over. It was very, very impressive to me. So I was drumming those sounds. I was a good steady drummer. It's got a little motoric in it because it's very, you know, steady. The first German music of the 70s that I can remember hearing was Kraftwerk, I was exposed to that by David Bowie, who was a kind of connoisseur of what's going on right now in art music. And then the big one for me was Neu. Klaus Dinger and Michael Roeder. That was the most amazing for me. I think it was Klaus Dinger who said he wanted to drum as if the beat would just go on forever. And it felt like that. Wow, listen to that, you know, and especially for me, the favorite cut is Lila Engel, where it's just so savage. It reflected to me the young ideal of the new German and the new life they could lead free of US music from their culture.
You never called it motorik.
No, not really.
Okay.
There is no German motorisch, one could say. No, not, at least not personally. Not me. No. No. It is also not. It is human, which is a very big difference to the machines, which can very easily play that.
Yeah.
But that's for me, it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's my favorite beat. It's really simple, and that's why it's so great, I think. And I always try to copy it, and I never could, somehow. We had the Roaring 20s. That was great. That was really lively, and a lot of good art was done in the 20s. For our idea of music, that was the time when it was still like real. And afterwards, it was all like suppressed, kind of. You know, it was suppressed from Hitler, and then it was after war, kind of, give me the Schlager, give me something nice. I don't want to think about anything bad. Everything was so like tidied up, and there was no wildness anymore. You know, I just want to have my life and my children, and ooh, I'm happy, kind of. Don't disturb my life. When I came to Berlin the first time, it was really nice. I felt like freedom. I have to say that Neu, and especially the beat, and then how they work with the notes too, like the repetitive notes, and how they easily evolve in something else. It sets you free in a way. I don't know how that works, but it seems to work. It works on me.
Aux war ein so entschlossener Musiker. In guten Momenten waren das Augenblicke, in denen ich sehr glücklich war und das Gefühl hatte, das ist großartig. Als Künstler muss man ein bisschen verrückt sein, auf jeden Fall. Man ist neben der Spur, man ist nicht im normalen Fahrwasser. Und wenn Kunst passiert oder die Musik passiert, ist man sowieso in einem Zustand, der nicht dem Normalzustand entspricht.
Quite a lot of people, I mean, a lot of Neu fans that I know here in Scandinavia have never read an interview with you, and it always seemed to us that you almost communicated to the world only through the records, the music that was on it, the sleeves, the photographs, and your handwritten credits. Was that a sort of deliberate thing? Because I have actually never seen an interview with you.
Yeah, I think it's not wrong what you say, you know. From the very beginning, my impression from the music business and also from the press was very bad, and I felt very misunderstood somehow. You know? And also I felt exploited.
It's sort of the contrast between your romantic ideal and the realism of business. I was thinking there about the clothes. Were they your ideas with the white overalls, in fact?
Yeah.
What was it that you liked about the white overalls?
It has to do with my social background. I'm in general more working class.
Yeah.
So I quite early realized that I couldn't afford expensive clothes. Also that I didn't like it, you know, the fact that you just buy good taste.
Yeah.
So I tried to develop my own style.
'76, '77, '78 were my 3 big years in Germany. Germany freed me from the Americans. And it wasn't just Germany, it was the idea of Germany. I flew to Germany first. I flew to Munich. Got in late, came in the dark, and I was very excited. First of all, right away, I'd never seen a German doorknob. In America, you have round doorknob, but in Germany, you have a handle, a good, real handle. Like, you know, it goes up and down, and it looks substantial. And I wrote to my parents, and I said, this is very exciting. I said, my door handle looks engineered. I said, the clothes look engineered. Everything was different. Cologne and Dusseldorf. People who lived in those towns at that time had almost an ideal young life for an artist. It was very, very groovy student vibe. You know, sort of the kind of thing that led to Joseph Beuys. There was peace in Germany. That's what it comes down to. I would get up in the mid-morning, and I didn't have central heat. When I lived in Bowie, I had central heat, but when I took my own place, I had just a Koch's oven. And I'd wake up and start drinking a lot of strong coffee first, and then I would have to heat water to a shower. Sometimes I would skip that. If I had food, I'd eat some bread and butter. And then I would take a couple of what they call Stern. They're the student studying pills, and I'd start making whatever I was gonna make. I would either make a riff on guitar, or I would make a poem, or I would make a painting. And then in the mid-afternoon, usually I would go outside to enjoy the outdoors. I would take long walks and long trips all around the city. And then usually by dinner time, I'd be stoned. And I would eat some cheap food that would be very good. And then usually in the night, I just try to get stoned and bullshit. Try to get fucked, listen to music, and finally give up and go to sleep. And then just start the process like that. But if there was an album to be made coming up, then it would be more strictly only working music words over and over. Music words, stoned, music words, stoned. Stoned up, music words, stoned down, sleep. Stoned up, music words, stoned down, sleep. Like that.
Wir alle suchen Liebe, Anerkennung, Freude. Und Klaus ich meine, das sind Erlebnisse, die fast niemandem erspart bleiben, dass ein gebrochenes Herz hat. Und jeder hat seine eigene Lösung. Bei Klaus war es immer sehr deutlich, der Schmerz und auch vielleicht das Zelebrieren des Schmerzes war fast ein Lebensmotto.
Im Grund, 3. Februar 72. Lieber Honig, ich möchte mit dir sprechen, dich mal ansehen. Ich möchte zusammen sein mit dir. Nicht einmal anrufen kann ich dich. Aber ein Gespräch am Telefon könnte kaum helfen, glaube ich. Inzwischen geht es mir etwas besser. Vielleicht habe ich mich schon gefangen. Vielleicht nur, weil ich hoffe, immerzu hoffe. Und weil ich glaube an unsere Liebe. Und nicht an das, was du in deinem letzten Brief geschrieben hast. Ich kann mir nicht vorstellen, dass du mich verlassen willst. You can't do that. Natürlich kannst du es, wieso denn nicht? Vielleicht muss ich es lernen, dass meine größte Hoffnung zerstört wird. Warum interessiert niemanden? Und es würde nicht helfen. Weil meine Liebe zu dir nicht rational ist. Überhaupt ist Liebe nicht mit üblichen Maßstäben messbar, etwa in D-Mark oder Kilometer und auch nicht in Zentimeter. In den beiden vergangenen Tagen habe ich deinen Brief oft gelesen und viel über den Inhalt nachgedacht. Am Schluss steht, ich liebe dich. Und das reißt mich jedes Mal wieder hoch, nachdem ich von Seite zu Seite trauriger werde.
It's got a real forward motion. It's very propulsive, but it's also still. You're going forward, but you're not moving. You're doing both things at the same time. It's like a drug state, really. Makes you feel calm, and I think it's meditative. I'll say that again, meditative, right? Great music to listen to when you're driving. I used to take a lot of amphetamines. It was great to listen to amphetamines. Funnily enough, it used to make me feel calm on amphetamines too. You know, or the music would make you feel like, but that was kind of calming, you know. As I say, meditative, I can't say that word. Meditative, medication. I never had the intention to be a drummer, but it was when I played drums the Mary Chain, I took it very seriously, you know. The drum thing was natural because it was great, you could express yourself without speaking. And I used to play standing up, just floor tom and a snare, like a military snare, like a big thick snare. But that's the only way that I can play drums. Just a boom, 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 the tribal beat, you know, like that. And it just it comes naturally to me. I'm not trying to be anybody. It's how I hear music, you know. I hear it with very primitive, strong backbeat. All of my dreams came true. You know, just be part of this wall of sound and this psychic force field. It was the Mary Chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, whereas at Primal Scream I had to be the front guy, you know. I think in the 90s, I discovered now, it's kind of interesting because when I started listening to them, I realised that a lot of bands that I loved as a teenager had been influenced by them. One of my favourite drummers was Stephen Morris from Joy Division, New Order. He was definitely influenced by Noi. So that, I'm indirectly influenced. I think I'm indirectly influenced by Dinger's drumming.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's like we were talking about this the other day. Motoric, it's like Motoric TM. But to me, that beat could be applied to. It could be applied to anything. It's not like a specific beat. It's anything that starts and then it drives. It's a heartbeat, really, that drives you along. And the thing about it, the reason that it works is once you start it, it's very hard to stop it. It's basically just it's just eights. You just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and where you decide to start determines what it is. You can. It's like a skipping kind of thing. Kids, they dance, anything like that. It's just a pattern that makes you move. I've always tried to do that sort of thing, that less is more, really. Nobody likes a bloody flash drummer. This one's mostly a birdie noise. Some of them are, if I can convince it to make a... There's a few of them. This one's well behaved, because I've got a collection of them that they're all broken, and I quite like the brokenness.
Stand to the radio.
I entered an advert in a music shop window for a drummer, and I ended up meeting Ian Curtis. We just kind of hit it off, really, because the great thing about it is that nobody had... There was no idea. There was like, the only idea was, right, we're going to be in a band. And yeah, so I ended up with in Joy Division. And I've been doing that ever since. So that's like 30 odd years now, hitting things for a living. It's a good thing to do, really. It's very therapeutic when you've got a lot of anger, and you can get quite angry with the world. Banging on some drums is quite a good release.
Playing forward, endless, as I call it, lange Gerade. What is the lange Gerade in English? I don't know.
Yeah, I know what lange means, but what does Gerade mean?
It's a lane somehow. What you certainly have on the motor highway.
Oh, right.
You know?
So it's actually like almost running like you're driving down a road, or?
Yeah, I mean, there are different sorts of styles of driving, of course. And, yeah,
cruising almost.
Well, maybe, but not only, yeah.
The thing that kept me alive and the thing that kept me going was music, you know. It's kind of like music helped me dream my way out of where I was. Just so that I would have something to do. I would take lids from the trash bins, put them in the ground, I'd get drumsticks, and I'd go boom, 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 boom. And it would sound amazing in this hall. And Jim would play his one-note guitar, and then both of us would scream. Like, wow, you know, wow, 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 wow. And that's how I began making music. Primal Scream. I think it's a ritualistic, tribal, ancient thing. I think deep inside of us, we respond to that beat. A repetitive tribal beat and maybe some chants. I think it touches us somewhere deep inside. I think it goes way back, you know, to like primitive societies. It's a way of gathering everybody. I think you respond to it in a very deep way. I know that I do. It creates a tension. It sucks people in. And you can really hold them there. And it's a sexual thing as well, I think. You know, it's like a rhythmic kind of dream state. So I guess it's like nirvana. It's reaching a state of spiritual ecstasy. I hope that doesn't sound too pretentious.
Gut. Gut, der Mixer. Ein bisschen mehr das durchlaufende Tonlevel, weil es sich mixt.
Vieles ist nicht psychologisch aufzuschlüsseln, was warum passiert ist. Wir haben zu dem Zeitpunkt auch nicht mehr so ganz musikalisch übereingestimmt, Mitte der 80er. Ich weiß nicht die Details, weil Klaus und ich nicht befreundet waren. Das muss man unterscheiden. Manche Leute finden das befremdlich, dass man Musik, sowas Intimes wie Musik miteinander kreiert, aber nicht befreundet ist. Einfach so, dass Klaus Charaktereigenschaften hatte, die es mir unmöglich machten, ihn als Freund zu haben. Klaus hat sich viele Feinde geschaffen in späteren Jahren. Sein Benehmen, sein Umgang mit anderen Menschen wurde sehr schwierig, destruktiv kann man auch sagen. Und so haben sich immer mehr Leute von ihm abgewandt. Für mich ist klar, also auch viel weniger an Drogen verändert die Wahrnehmung der Wirklichkeit so, dass man irgendwann vielleicht nicht mehr auf diesem Planeten ist und dann nicht mehr kommunizieren kann mit anderen, weil für alle anderen die Realität ganz anders aussieht. Wir alle suchen Liebe, Anerkennung, Freude. Und jeder hat seine eigene Lösung. Und man kann vielleicht daraus schließen, Klaus wollte unbedingt wahrgenommen werden. Einfach, dass man ihn sieht, wahrnimmt und sich mit ihm auseinandersetzt, ob man ihn mag oder hasst. Hauptsache, man sieht ihn. Und das ist vielleicht ein Bedürfnis, das sehr gefährlich ist.
There was one question there that we didn't get an answer from, and that was the reason behind the breakup of Neu.
Well, it was a quite natural development, I would say. We are very different persons.
Does that mean that there were a lot of arguments between you and Michel?
It was not so loud also, you know. We didn't have fights. I was tripping a lot, for example, and he never did any. I mean, I was always a seemingly crazy one. I don't believe that I'm really crazy, but you could also say romantic, which can also be crazy in certain contexts.
I think you need to love and be loved in return. I would say these two things are unavoidable. The rest of the stuff you can work around, but those are the two big things. But then eventually you will have to feel something bounce back. Somehow that you're necessary or that you're fun or something. These are the two big poles, I think. Yeah.
After the final breakup of Neu, Klaus continued his lifelong search for a new kind of experimental music. He was always driven to move forward.
Is there any chance of you returning to that original beat, the Endless Grade, making a more Neu music like that, or?
I see problems with the Endless Grade.
Mm-hmm. But so you wouldn't drum yourself?
I'm nearly 52 now, and this drumming is also a very physical thing.
I've asked you an awful lot of questions. Is there anything that you would like to talk about?
In principle, yes, but at the moment, not so much. And I'm hoping that you can make something out of it.
Oh yeah, it was very good.
You say that very kind. English gentleman, I would say.
In March 2008, Klaus Dinger died of a heart attack at his home in Zealand. He was 61 years old.
Auch nach dem Tod von Klaus habe ich beschlossen, mich auf die positiven Aspekte. Und wir waren ein gutes Team. Das ist das, was am Ende zählt. Anziehen, das ist das Sonderbare oder auch das, was mich so freut, dass es immer wieder Menschen gibt, die Neu noch nicht gehört haben und sagen, was ist das? Ist das eine Band, die jetzt gerade neu angefangen hat?
The heart is a muscle. The heart is a machinery. The heart is a drum that one day will stop. Then, the end.